Hey guys, it's Matt and Mike with Bardic Inspiration, and I know it's been a while since we've done one of these. Life kind of gets in the way sometimes, but we do have a handful of songs that we want to take a look back at.
Yeah, since last time, we are quickly approaching the 1,000 subs mark, and first off, thank you. If you are one of those people, we are very grateful. It's very exciting. And as 1,000 subs is usually the first milestone really to be proud of for a YouTube channel. So very grateful for that again.
Right. Thank you very much.
Once we do pass that 1,000 subs threshold, though, we are planning on doing some sort of special thing. We're still working on the details of that, but be on the lookout of that because we want to do something cool as a way to say thank you for 1,000 subs.
So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our first cover here. And this is the Reigns of Castamere.
So this Game of Thrones, obviously.
Right.
I mean, I think most people know that it's from Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. I know that they played this during the Red Wedding in season 3, but I'm pretty sure that you can hear it throughout the first couple seasons.
Yeah, they definitely they like remix it into other
it's almost like they use it really to like foreshadow what's going to happen. So that way when you hear it at the Red Wedding, you're like, oh shit. I'm pretty sure you can. I know at least earlier in season 3 you hear Lannister soldiers singing it, so that's why when you do hear it at the Red Wedding, you know something bad's about to happen. But yeah, I was a huge Game of Thrones fan up until that last season, and I don't think I need to get into why. But yeah, I loved this show. It had a lot of actually good music in it. The soundtrack to the Game of Thrones is probably one of my favorites I've ever heard. So
yeah.
I can't remember the name of the composer off the top of my head. His name was Ramin something. I can't remember his last name. So shout out to that guy. He did a great job with this soundtrack.
Oh, absolutely.
So one of the things to note, I guess, about this song is it is arranged in terms of sectioned. Like the sections are slightly different in this because in the actual version, obviously, what we use is verse 1 and verse 2. They're just the verse. So it's just a verse and a chorus, and it repeats however many times it wants. But I thought it would be cool to do it in a more traditional arrangement. So that way it does verse 1. Oh man, that stare at the camera. Like do a verse 1, a chorus, a verse 2, and a chorus. So that way verse 1 and 2 aren't the exact same thing. So it's just basically cut the verse in half and use one for the other. And I felt like it was a good contrast to using Matt for one of the verses, me for one of the verses.
No. So something you can notice, especially in the last half of the video, is that there's actually a filter that's being applied throughout the entire song. There's slowly a creeping red shade that tints the entire frame. And yes, that was intentional because, when you start digging into the song itself, like the lyrics, what it represents, it's a very strong, like, revenge and like don't step on my toes kind of vibe. So we wanted to really reflect that in the video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed
not only that, not so subtly, it's during the Red Wedding. So like, I felt like even if that weren't so visually like apparent, I guess, as far as how the music goes, that there was also that reference to make. So it ended up working out really. I'm really happy with that one. That's actually one of my favorite ones that we've done so far. It's so simple, but it works so well.
Well, I do. I find it fun that in this little group of songs we're about to, continue reviewing, we have our shortest song and our longest song.
Yeah, no, bookended. Yeah, this one was just under 3 minutes. The last one's over 7, so we'll get there in a minute. But that was the first one that we did that it was all East-West.
Yeah.
That was, yes. And, well, actually, no, I take that back. Magic of the Wizard's Dream was all East-West, but what I did for this one is I got a little bit more adventurous in what some of the sound libraries were, like, like slurred violin sections and stuff. Some cool stuff.
Yeah.
I did have percussion in that. Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, never mind.
So up next, we have the Soldier of Heaven cover. This is, Sabaton for any of our, big metal fans. So.
Yeah, this was off the newest record. This was one of the singles, is one that they did a music video for. Sabaton's one of my favorite bands.
Oh, absolutely.
I absolutely love them. Back when I was in school, I was a huge World War II buff. And I kind of like fell out of history a little bit until I started listening to Sabaton again. Joachim, their singer, has such a unique voice.
Yeah.
And it's also sneaky high.
Right.
Like he's got so much body and low end to his tone that like you don't realize how high he's singing sometimes. Mm-hmm. And that, especially in the key change in the last chorus of this, started to make a little bit of a problem.
I'd like to think that we powered through.
I don't think it was bad. Well, this is one though that I think it's worth noting. This is a re-upload actually,
right?
Because there was an audio sync issue in the project file, not in the video. So this is one, and this so far this is the only video that I've actually done this for. Was I was using some of East West's scores, it's score presets. I don't remember which all ones I used. But for anyone who doesn't know that much about East West, they have an orchestrator in the Hollywood Opus sound libraries that basically what that means is I can take a little MIDI keyboard and play a 3-note chord, and then it'll bust those notes out to an entire orchestra in whatever range makes the most sense, and you can assign the different chord values to different instruments and stuff. And it's genius and it's amazing. But something I noticed with it, and this is what I'm pretty sure caused the sync issue, is that if you have it perfectly on time, it's not perfectly on time. It has to be I couldn't figure out, and I was just getting frustrated a little bit, whether it's ahead or behind. I figured it out eventually. I just can't remember off the top of my head because I don't have the project files ahead of me right here. But it took me a minute. Yeah, no, we uploaded this, and then someone commented on it that the audio sync was kind of distracting, and I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that it was most apparent in the last choruses, and then in the key change it just got so off that I don't know how I didn't catch it in the first place, to be honest. I think I was tired that night, got it bounced, and then we were just so ready to get the video out that we didn't do enough checks on it. So that's definitely a lesson we learned from this. One, I haven't used those orchestrators in one of the videos since. I probably will eventually, but for the ones coming up, I just had more luck, or like I had specific things I wanted to do with instruments. So like, that was kind of the point of this, is I wanted to use the orchestrator for this song just because I wanted to see what I could do with it. Yeah. And as far as what the orchestrator can do, I think it worked fine. It's just there's still some things I need to learn about it before I can use it correctly.
Yeah. I think everything with this song and video kind of took a lot more time than we expected it to, with the syncing issues, but also all of the layered vocals and different instrument tracks that took a long time to do. And then even the video, there's effects for the snow, which is super simple, but you still have to go in and manually input that kind of stuff. So I think everything about this felt super last minute. But it ended up being probably one of my favorites.
It was fun, especially what I liked about this a lot, and I think it turned out the best in this one specifically, was I just transcribed the guitar solo into MIDI and then put it on a violin, and it worked. It worked the best, I think, in this song. There's other songs that we've done since that I've just kept some of the guitar solos as a MIDI file and put one of the solo violin patches on it, and it works. But that one was, I think, the one that worked the best. Yeah. The last two we'll get to. I'm not unhappy with any of them. I won't say that, but that one worked better than the other ones for sure.
Yeah. So we're going to take a look at the End of Heartache.
Killswitch Engage. Yeah. I've been listening to Killswitch Engage for a very, very long time. This song actually was the first one I heard by them. And no, I take that back. My Curse was the first one I heard by them.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the first song most people heard by them.
Yeah, so I obviously I play guitar, and I'm a huge metalhead. I played in metal bands for quite a long time. Every band I've been in covers this song. Right? It's almost to the point where I'm almost sick of it. Like, the newest group that I'm with, we've played this together like for shits and giggles and stuff. But man, I'm almost like I was playing it like this was actually a breath of fresh air because I was kind of getting sick of it,
right?
As the way it's supposed to be, and it worked really well, to be honest. Because Howard Jones, first of all, is I definitely not an underrated singer. He gets as much praise as he deserves, and he deserves a lot. And that's what drew me to, because originally the first two records that they had with their original singer Jesse Leach, who's back in the band, the first two records didn't do a lot for me. I know that a lot of people still love those first two Killswitch Engage records, but they didn't do much for me. And then Howard Jones comes in, records the next three albums with them, and I'm like, this is a great singer. Then Howard leaves, and then Jesse Leach comes back, and I wasn't sure how to feel about it at first, but then they put out their first single, In Due Time, and I was like, oh, he got a lot better.
Right.
We're good. No, this is fine. This is absolutely fine. But yeah, so this what can I say about the music of this, at least? The harmonies here were a lot easier. Were pretty easy to do, to be honest, because I just did what they do live, essentially, where I do the call, he does the response, which is basically the main line, really. But what I'm doing is literally exactly what Adam D does live, because on the record, those are some high notes, and I know Adam D can't sing as high as Howard could, but Adam D's got to do the backup vocals. So I was like, I'll just do that. It works out. And not only that, it's like if I were to do the higher one, I would have to push harder. I just feel like as a background vocal in this stripped back of a version of the song, it works better to do it that way.
Now this ended up probably being my favorite video to put together.
Shout out to my dog Gimli.
Right. So it may take a minute to catch on to what exactly we're doing there. But I think by this point you kind of understand the theme of the video, because the song is super, like, you know, sad and emotional, and you know, about your broken heart that may never mend. So we decided to do a video of all of the minor inconveniences that feel like the end of the world at times. So I had a lot of fun.
Misspelling something while writing in pen. Trying to throw a piece of trash into a trash can and you miss.
Right.
Breaking a tortilla chip off in the salsa bowl.
Right.
Bring a pet into the room, and when you sit down, they immediately leave.
No. And then this part coming up after the solo is by far my favorite part of the video.
Yeah. I decided to skip the bridge too in this. The bridge musically wouldn't translate as well to acoustic stuff. That's why I put a guitar solo here instead. Because like in the actual song, it's a really chuggy breakdowny riff kind of thing. And then there's some vocals on it, but I felt like we could axe it and it wouldn't suffer. Yeah. Here it is.
I had that moment planned from the moment I heard the final mix of the music.
Yeah, that is the Voices of Opera sound library from East West. Everything I use is East West, just in case. We're not sponsored by East West. We're trying to get them to. No.
It would be cool, but I mean, probably use people who have spent longer than a couple months with their software to promote it, but we do enjoy it. We do love it.
Yeah, that was just the Voices of Opera patch. I wanted to put the tenor voice in there too, but like it was just overpowering everything. So I was like, I'll just take that out. We'll leave the soprano vocal in there. It made it funnier anyways. It made that moment funnier. And a lot of the jokes in that I almost feel like are more for us than anything.
Right.
Like we thought they were hilarious when we did the jokes. And I'm fine with keeping them in for that reason. But if you didn't find that video as funny as we did, that's fine. Like it's okay.
And honestly, it's understandable.
It's understandable. Like we found it hilarious, but at no point did we think any of those were like A-tier jokes,
right?
Like that. Like
I don't know that the stubbing the toe. That's every time.
No, there were some low tier. There were some low tier jokes, like
low effort,
and the low hanging fruit jokes there. But They were amusing, and it was a fun time to put
it was a fun time to put it together and film it. And really, at the end of the day, we're just trying to have a good time, you know?
Have a good time.
So here is the fourth song we've done in the last couple months. This is Nemo by Nightwish.
Nightwish, also one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, I kind of figured out the lighting better for this song, or for this video. A lot of the old videos had a really dark side of the face. But on this one, you know, you can actually see all of our faces, and there's still a shadow side and everything. I think it turned out a lot better than some of the other videos that we did.
Yeah, and this one, I mean, Nightwish is the symphonic metal band, right? So a lot of the orchestration was already there for me. I didn't have to. There was surprisingly little I had to do in that respect. The only thing I did is I changed some instruments. Like, I forget what it was originally, but I put the hurdy-gurdy in.
Right.
There's a hurdy-gurdy in there. I can't remember what it was originally supposed to be, but I just changed it. Because also it was at this point that I was playing around with all these other different East-West sound libraries that I got. I found the hurdy-gurdy. I didn't think it was in there. It's in the raw sound library, which I would have thought was just like Middle Eastern Egyptian folk instruments, but they've got all kinds of stuff in there, and that's where I found the hurdy-gurdy under the European section. So I was like, there we go.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and then that'll play a big part in the next song too.
This was a really fun song to learn. Like as somebody who kind of just sings for fun, I guess, this was a lot of fun to really put together, vocally especially. Like, I had a blast. It's great.
Yeah, and vocally too, this is one that like is a lot less layered than a lot of the other ones, and it worked too. Like, I constantly am struggling going back and forth with how many layers of vocals to add before it just gets to be too much. And sometimes adding a lot of layers works out really well. Like in the Sabaton song, it worked out fine. In this song, it would have been really easy to overdo it, so I just didn't. In fact, actually, one of the vocal layers is an East-West sound library. It's the Voices of Passion, and I believe it is the Mongolian. It's a Far East sound library. I can't remember what it was.
I am sorry that we don't actually play the violin.
Or was it Voices of Passion? No, it's Voices of the East is what the sound library is called. No. Okay. I do have Voices of Passion. I was originally going to use that, but then I pulled up the one for Voices of the Empire. Voices of the Empire. Yeah. Okay. Third time's the charm on
There's so many of these libraries.
No, there is no Voices of the East. It's called Voices of the Empire, but there is one called Voices of Passion. So yeah, I was just playing around with what I was going to do for that backing vocal. And originally, actually, that backing vocal was supposed to be like a mental guide for me when I was doing the background stuff, so I'd remember the notes. And then I just for no particular reason, just out of curiosity, pulled up the Voices of the Empire and threw one of them on there. I was like, that works perfect.
Right.
So I was like, there we go, we got it. I'm looking for more excuses to use it now, to be honest. And that's one thing though that's really cool about all of this is every single cover we've done since I've gotten East-West, I've been able to get away with using different things for everything. Like for the most part, like all of the like orchestral strings and stuff, that's all the same sound library. But like I'm able to pull different like folk instruments in. That's why the raw one was so clutch. Silk is one. I know that there's a gypsy one that I want to get.
Right.
I just haven't had the time to download yet. But yeah, that Voices of the Empire here at the end was just incredible. Because at some point, my vocals cut out, and then all you're hearing is the Voices of the Empire. I think it's right there, actually. Yeah, it was that that last time around. And out of one of them, I can't remember now which one of them, but that's where I got... This is a Chinese wind instrument, and I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. But
in case you wondered if we're playing around with everything that we have,
I'm playing around with a lot of things, and unexpected things are what's working. To be honest, because I looked all over the place to find, because like Nightwish is they're Finnish. I believe they're from Finland. They're Scandinavian for sure. I believe they're from Finland or from Norway. I don't remember exactly. So I was expecting some sort of Northern European or like a Celtic wind instrument to be the thing that I was going to use, and lo and behold, it ended up being a Chinese one that worked the best. So I'm like, okay, all right. I question everything now, but I'm going to use what worked.
Yeah. Now, I mean, we plan to do more Nightwish in the future.
In fact, and we're also planning on doing more Sabaton too.
That is true.
I don't know which band is going to be the first one that we do a second cover by, but
comment down below which one you'd like to see first.
Could be either one of those. Another Winter Song could be, or Winter Sun song could be up. We don't know. I don't know. Yeah. You don't know either.
We're just doing things, man. Like we don't even have a plan.
Yeah,
but we don't talk about this in advance.
No, we make a plan and then we don't do it,
and then we don't follow
do something else.
Like how long? Astounding that we're approaching 1,000 subscribers.
Right? No, there's one cover that I've had done for a very long time, but we had such a specific idea for the video that we just haven't done it yet.
Right. So it requires some costuming.
Yeah, it requires a lot of extra stuff. Because I'm totally cool with how we're just doing the dark room for a lot of these things, but eventually I do want some of the songs to be a little bit more narrative and have something a little bit more interesting going on, but we'll get there.
And from a video integrity standpoint, I'm not going to force a narrative style video onto a song. If I can't think of a good enough narrative for that video, we're just not going to do one.
This next song being a really good example of that, where I tried for a long time to come up with an idea to do for the video. And I had things that could work for certain sections, but nothing that could sustain the entire song, especially this one because it's 7 minutes long.
It is 7 minutes long, so you'd have to fill a lot of time there.
This is The Phalanx by Trivium.
Without further ado,
I think that the first thing that I should say is Trivium is my all-time favorite band. Matt Hafey is one of my favorite musicians. I don't think it's an understatement to say that Trivium is why I play the music I play.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of background on myself, really, I guess. I've been playing guitar since my freshman year of high school, and I'm 29 now, so math on that, I would think I was 15. It's been 15 years. So the way I look at it is I always had a different step that kind of influenced how my musical tastes developed, and it was Linkin Park got me into music. Megadeth got me into playing guitar. Trivium got me into playing the guitar that I want, the music that I want to play. And I don't think I can ever thank them enough. Megadeth, Marty Friedman specifically. But I mean, every other guitar player, and obviously Dave Mustaine, definitely deserve their credit too. But Trivium is the band that made me want to play what I play. And this song came off of their most recent record. This song actually kind of worked really well to do a Tavern song for, because the music video for this was actually done as a collaboration with Elder Scrolls Online.
No, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, no, I forget what I think it was it the Morrowind? No, it was after Morrowind. I don't remember what the actual expansion was for ESO, but the one that came out around the time the album was coming out, they did
Blackwood or
collaboration with this. I don't know. We could go watch the actual Phalanx music video and we could find out. But point being is that this song I feel like is very specifically suited to doing nerd stuff with.
But for all those reasons Mike just listed, I was more than willing to let him kind of do his thing as far as singing this one. I wasn't snubbed for anybody out there.
I didn't want to sing this song almost all myself.
Yeah, but with it being again Michael's favorite band, Matt Hafey, if you're watching, please.
If Matt Hafey saw this video, I could die a happy man. And this is actually one of the first. This album too had some orchestration on it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that is not something I ever thought I'd hear in a Trivium song, and it's everything I wanted in a Trivium song, but didn't know that I wanted in a Trivium song. Also, it's worth pointing out, this is a little Easter egg here. Since this is the last time the chorus comes up in the song, I want to mention it before it goes away. So anyone who's familiar with Trivium probably remembers the album Shogun. And this song was originally written during that time, and it had a different bridge section. The original bridge section actually is what ended up being the bridge section in Torn Between Scylla and Charybdis. And that's why they ended up not using this, because they took the bridge out of that, put it in Torn Between Scylla and Charybdis, and was like, oh, this song's not finished now, so I guess we can't use it for the time being.
Let's shelve it for 10 years.
For the chorus, we did a backing vocal. The part Matt sings is the original melody to the chorus, which I found out because on Matt Hafey's Twitch channel, he dug up the old demo of this and played it on stream for everybody, and then he re-uploaded that clip to YouTube too, and that's where I saw it, because I don't have time to watch people on Twitch ever because I work too much. But so he pulled up that original demo, and he was talking about the decision to change the chorus, and they're like, I agree with why they changed the chorus, but I still love the original chorus. So I was like, how cool would it be to, because it works, it's like a lot of the same notes, it's just it doesn't, like the new chorus that ended up on the record kind of starts above the ahead of the beat, so that way the high note lands on the downbeat and it grabs you more, and that was the reason why they changed it. However, the original one was still so cool sounding that I was like, let's use that as a background vocal, because why not? Like, it works. It doesn't clash. It goes together really well because they're basically the same notes. So it's almost like if you play them together like we did, it's like an echo, just about. And we're like, it ended up making for a really cool part. Also, this bridge is, in the original version, is incredibly heavy and very low tuned too. And I was like, well, it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna sound good if I try to play it on an acoustic guitar. So I just turned it into a jig.
Which I think really kind of changes the song, you know. It makes it a little bit more happy, which I guess you could play around with that in terms of the lyrics.
But yeah, so here in this outro, this is where the hurdy-gurdy comes in, and I used it on this because a hurdy-gurdy is a drone instrument, right? Kind of like a bagpipe,
right?
Like it has that note going. It has a note going like the whole time, basically, that you're trying to do this, because it's crank operated, right? So it's constantly playing a note, and then you can play notes on top of it too. If I'm horribly explaining how a hurdy-gurdy works, then feel free to correct me.
It's somebody who's an expert on hurdy-gurdies,
because I don't play a hurdy-gurdy. But it has that drone going the whole time, and the lead guitar part in this also has that drone going the whole time. So it has an open string playing the entire time while you're playing on the string below that, but you're making sure to hit that open string to have it going, so that way it kind of like keeps the key in place. And I was like, hey, that's how hurdy-gurdies work. Let's make that part be a hurdy-gurdy. And I thought it turned out really good, personally.
Yeah. The first time I heard the final mix with that, like with the beginning of that outro, I mean, I was immediately in love with it. First of all, hurdy-gurdy, it's freaking awesome.
Thank you, Sea of Thieves.
Right. Yeah, for making that a big thing. Thank you, Sea of Thieves.
And also the band Elvady.
Also them.
We might do one of their songs eventually, but they're already basically exactly what we're doing.
Right.
So, you know, maybe one day, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. As far as the video goes, again, it's, you know, one of the more simple videos that we've done. But I did find a fun Adobe filter for the actual image. So that was exciting. And I really think that it added to the tone of the song. You know, really, it lightened up some of the darks, but it also added a lot of contrast to anything like light and dark next to each other. And honestly, I feel like it gave it a really professional look. And I'm very far from a professional. So, nice. So, wrapping up, some final thoughts?
So in that last one in particular, there were some parts, at least, if I want to critique myself a little bit, where I probably could have done another take on some of the vocal parts and everything. But I think that also just goes to show that I don't use pitch correction during any of this. I cannot afford pitch correction, so I just don't use it. I don't really care to use it even if I did have it, but if just in case anyone was wondering, I think that some of those parts made it very clear that no pitch correction is being used.
Yeah. So don't come after us.
We're definitely not using pitch correction. And I think you can tell. But yeah, that was one where I just ran out of time. Yeah. Really, what it was. I was gonna go back and re-record those lines, but it was like, we got to get this video out. So I just swallowed my pride and just be like, okay, as long as it's evident then that we're not messing around behind the scenes with pitch correction in times that you definitely don't need to, because it would be way too easy to just do one vocal take all the way. You could do it all the way through and just dragging everything like that. And, you know, if you do that, I honestly don't care. I'm not that militant against pitch correction as some people are, but it does at least, I feel like you're at least getting the picture of what we actually sound like and what we actually can do if we don't use it.
Right.
So
it's giving you a fuller picture of if you wanted us to play live.
Ooh.
What you might hear. We have thrown that out as a possibility, but maybe someone out there is considering it, which I think would be really fun. I've performed in like theater before. I've done
whereas
a few musicals.
Whereas I have played live with numerous bands in the past. Yeah. Just did it this past weekend. Played a bunch of emo songs.
Right.
Bunch of emo songs back in the early 2000s.
Always a good time.
It was a really fun time. I'll show you the video later.
But yeah, what a fun group of songs.
We got into some of my favorite bands, I guess, is we already did a Camelot song, and that was in the last batch, and Camelot's one of my favorite bands, but we got Nightwish, Sabaton, and Trivium out of this. We still got a couple of my favorite bands to hit left. No telling when they'll come up, but they're definitely in the pipeline. So, like I had said, I think in the previous retrospective, it's safe to say that if we cover a song, I probably love the band. Right. And you have whatever feelings you have about the band, but since I'm the one recording all the music, what I say goes.
There you have it.
No, it is. No, it's definitely diplomatic. Like, I'm not just going to be like, hey, we're doing this now and you can get over it.
Yeah, I mean, we've bumped up songs because of my suggestion.
Yeah.
You know,
and then I've bumped up songs because I'm like, this is the one I want to do right now. We've axed songs because we didn't want to do them right now.
Right.
I'm still working on an In Flames song because I love In Flames, but like, it's just
we're waiting for the right time.
They did just put out a new song though.
That is true.
State of Slow Decay. So
go check it out.
So maybe that'll be the one. Who knows? But In Flames will be coming up soon. Amon Amarth will be coming up soon, and then we'll probably throw some oddball wild cards in there too. We got something very special actually coming up next, I believe.
Yeah.
So now I just got to buckle down and finish it.
Well, that's been our look back at the last 5 songs that we've done. Thanks for coming on this little ride with us
as we ramble on for
like 40 minutes.
I don't know how long we've been running, but we did 5 songs and one of them was 7 minutes long. So it's definitely 30 minutes.
So if you've stuck around to this part,
first off, thank you.
I want you to comment down below a weird dream that you've had, and then don't make any other mention about it. Just to weird some people out in the comments. Just to show that you got this far. And thank you.
Thank you very much.
But that's going to do it for today. We've been Bardic Inspiration, and until next time,
take care.